This episode of the BJJ Foxcast is brought to you by BioPro. BioPro is an all-natural alternative to prescription human growth hormone, which aids in recovery, anti-aging, metabolism, libido, immunity, skin health, cognition, sleep, and stress. Just one vial per day provides a substantial boost to all of these growth factors. Okay, so that's what they want me to say. Here's what I know as an aging grappler. I've been using BioPro Plus and the nighttime variant, BioPro Plus Cortisleep, for several months, and it feels like I've grown a third lung. My gas tank is noticeably bigger, my recovery is faster, and I'm back on the mats much quicker, not just between training sessions, but between rounds. Now you can get $30 off your first order of BioPro when you use the code FOXCAST at www.bioproteintech.com. That's code FOXCAST for $30 off your first order at www.bioproteintech.com. Thank you, BioPro. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the BJJ Foxcast. I am your host, Alex Martinez, and my co-host, Alex Tojo Cray. Yes. Say hello.
Hello.
And today we have Greg Mclarty and Watus Cooper on the show. If you want to learn more about those guys, I think, Watus, you were episode 5, and Greg, you were episode 7.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. And you were just saying that we've upgraded. We have.
Yes.
So it's been that long since you've been on.
I love it. Looks
almost
good.
2 years. Almost 2 years since you've been on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 100 episodes.
Yeah, 100 episodes.
A little
yeah.
less than 100
episodes ago.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, well, I think this is 104. So yeah, almost 100 episodes.
Oh, look at that. See? I'll see you in another.
Every 100.
Another 2 years, another 100.
Man. Well, welcome back, boys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So a lot's changed, man. So when we first talked, you guys had, you still have your individual businesses, but you guys have kind of combined forces into one thing. Tell me about that, man. What are you guys up to?
Take it away, Greg.
Somebody go first.
Well, so we kind of are trying to become more integrated with what we're doing, but right now we're still kind of our separate businesses, but we're trying to figure out how to make everything work together, just so we can help as many people as we possibly can. So
yeah,
it's just kind of pretty much Watus's brainchild that he had been talking about wanting to get a physical therapist in there, and Christian Natividad came to me and told me that he was looking to do it, and it just kind of all fell together. We probably did everything the way you're not supposed to business-wise, but it just felt right. So
yeah.
It happened really quick, and we're getting going on it, man. It's one of the best moves I've ever made. So.
Did you get rid of your other location, or are you like all in on that location, on his location, or is?
I'm all in on that location, but I still have my other location. So if you want to go to Scottsdale, too bad.
Your days are numbered.
Yeah,
Who wants to drive all the way to Scottsdale?
Right.
So just to recap, what is it that you guys do individually, and how are you guys integrating that into one thing?
So, Unfair Advantage is a facility basically where we pride ourselves on helping people get out of pain, move up out of pain. So our training style is a more functional training style, so it's not your regular training gym. With that, we've coupled in some other modalities. We've brought in infrared saunas, cold plunges, red light therapy, compression therapy, massage therapy. And the one thing that we really wanted to have was a practitioner that was in the physical therapy. So we really want to have a one-stop shop for anybody who's training and trying to get their body to optimize and move the best. And so people who are in pain are typically going to physical therapy, massage therapy. They're going to ice baths, infrared saunas. They're doing all these things. They now need to be able to train their bodies to not end up in that same position again if it's something of pain. So the vision is to have a training facility that houses all of those things. So it started off as Unfair Advantage being a functional training facility, and then we added in the recovery modalities, the massage therapy, and now brought on controlled physical therapy to make it to where seriously, somebody who's going through whatever they're going through in their body, if it's something of pain, if it's just a new movement pattern that they're trying to learn, we now have a spot where they can come and get everything they would actually need in one spot.
Wow.
So do you focus mostly on preventative, or is it preventative recovery type like not like injury recovery, but like recovering from a workout kind of stuff? Or
I think it's kind of a threefold thing. It depends on where somebody's at in their journey. If they're coming in and they have an injury, then they're kind of like right in the middle of what I would call the book, because they're going through the process of learning what it is to move and feel better. So sometimes people come, more often than not, with an injury.
Right.
And that's why having Greg on site is really good, because I can now refer out and say, hey, you need to go see Greg first. And then once you're done with that chapter, come see us. We're going to help you try to move a little bit better on not having that injury show up again, creating some more strength surrounding the therapies you've already received from physical therapy, and being able to go on and be a better mover, if you will. Prior to that, yeah, there is a big piece of the preventative side of things where people are coming in, they're saying, hey, I've had this history, I've had these things, I've dealt with this in the past. I don't want to do that. I don't want to end up having to go and not train or not be able to perform at my best. Help me not get to that road. So there are people who come in from a preventative standpoint where they're not injured. They don't currently have any type of ailments that they're trying to get rid of. They just know and understand that they really want to be in the best shape that they can be in. So
yeah, those are the smart ones that do it before they get hurt.
There's only 3 of those. There's only 3 or 4 of those out there.
Yeah. So they go to Greg, and Greg helps them. Well, I mean, you've always helped me with like movement, functional movement and pain, stuff like that. So what do you do once once Greg puts them back together?
So me personally, and it's funny because how Greg and I came to know each other.
Do you need water? You want water?
I don't know what's going on.
Okay. You want me to get you some water?
I just have like a thing inside my throat, and I've been like trying to hold it in, and I'm like dying, man.
We can get you some water, man. Hey, get him some tequila. That helps me.
Clear right up.
It helps me. Yeah. So, and I'm thinking from the standpoint of like athletes, right? An athlete comes in with, our typical injuries are knees, elbows, and shoulders. That's just my opinion. I'm sure there's some back injuries. I haven't experienced that since I started jiu-jitsu. It's mostly been knees. But, you helped me get back on my feet with my knee after my knee surgery. And then I basically just rehabbed through weightlifting, and getting that done. What is it that you do differently? Let's call it post-knee surgery.
So somebody had seen Greg, and now they're done with knee surgery. And if they've seen Greg, or if they haven't seen Greg, or anybody who's coming in and they're needing to get a greater sense of awareness around their body, we start off everybody with a posture analysis. So we start to look at how is your body affected by gravity at rest. So once we can understand what type of deficiencies or deficits might be there from the surgery or from the compensations that may be related to having the surgery and going through that rehab process, we start to look at, okay, now we're going to start to build a program based around getting rid of the deficits that might be there in your posture, and dynamically we do a gait analysis and look at somebody, how they walk and how they run, and then start to decipher what's going to be the best approach, getting them to not only move better and perform better, but like what are the areas that may have been compromised or that may not have gotten the attention that they got as they're going through their surgery and rehab and those types of things. So essentially the program is predicated around getting a posture analysis, a gait analysis, and then building a program that's going to help them start to really reconnect upper and lower body to move as one unit.
And how likely is it for somebody, say in their mid 30s or 40s, to come to you after they beat the crap out of their bodies for decades and say, we're going to get them their body working properly? Like, is that a possibility?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. The biggest thing about anything that we do, especially with the modalities of therapies, is we're working with tissue, soft tissue, and more often than not, we're trying to get the fascia and the neuroplasticity, the body's ability to learn to move better. That's always the case. That's always going to be there. So long as we're alive and breathing air, we have an ability to now address and create neurotransmitters and get our bodies to start to think differently about how it's going to move. The body is so adaptive that once you start to implement a movement pattern that says, okay, that feels good, I like that, it's a lot easier to start moving down that path and create something where the body says, I'm going to keep doing this because it feels good to me as a reward, right? And so that longevity stuff and all the things we talk about as we get older, we start to have these better ideas about how to treat our bodies. It's like, you know what? I actually want to just move better. I want to get out of bed and not be in pain. Yeah. So there's already the psychological effect.
That's an option?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
I think that as we get older, we start to have these coupling ideas that my body and my brain are starting to think the same. Like, hey, this has been fun, but like, how about we just start making everything a lot easier and making it feel good as we start to move through life.
Yeah, no, I love that. So, and you mentioned the fascia, right? And you talk about, what do you call it? Like the release, the
myofascial release.
Myofascial release. Thank you.
Thanks.
But that's one thing that I've been, trying to work on, but I don't really know like where to start, what to do first. So I usually just start with my back, and then I'll go to my, like I'll work my back from lower back to upper back, just like on each side of the spine. And then I'll work like the upper body, like pecs, shoulders, stuff like that. But then after that, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll just, I sit on a baseball when I under my leg when I'm driving. And that's not always the safest thing to do when you're driving. But it seems to feel, my hamstring feels like looser whenever I get to where I'm going. And I'll shift it like up and down the hamstring as I'm going.
Yep.
And depending on how long the drive is, it feels pretty damn good when I get there. Is that typically what you would recommend for people? I mean, I don't sit a lot, but when I'm driving, I do that.
I think it just depends on what you're dealing with. Like the body, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you sit down a lot, you're going to have really tight adductors. You're going to have tight areas of your body that are going to promote you being able to sit down better. Yeah. Right. So it's going to be the hips. It's going to be the back. It's going to be these areas that don't really move a lot. So I would start with that and being able to, the biggest joint in the body, I think, is the hips. Because there's so much that goes on with the pelvis moves forward and backwards. It twists. It swings bipedally. So one leg's going forward, the other one's going backwards. It also goes up and down, and it rotates around. So there's a lot of connective tissue that's in there that can get locked up between the rib cage and the pelvis. So starting in the back, I think, is probably one of the best ideas, and then working your way down to the bigger muscles of the glutes and the hamstrings. Yeah, 100%. Because we always do everything. We do everything sitting down. We drive, we sit in the car, at a computer. Eating food, doing it all we do, doing a podcast. We're always sitting. So your hips and your back tend to be the real prize spots that if you're going to start with something, that's a really good spot to start. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that I can't do because my body won't allow it, and I'm, for me, I mean, I'm 51, so I feel like, I don't feel like I'm limited by any means, but I mean, the body's getting a little bit older. And every time you talk to somebody about, I want to get better at this, I want to recover faster, stuff like that, they always talk about, well, get your hormone levels checked. And they lean towards a TRT way. And I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I think they're overlooking some of the things that you guys provide. And correct me if I'm wrong, but do you think that maybe going to you guys first before they take the approach to hormones, is that a better approach, or do you think there's a combination of the two? How does that work?
I think it could be either or, to be honest with you, but
either or, that means you can skip the TRT and just do.
Well, I think it's based on situation,
the individual.
Right? So, but I always try to stay away from external, external things as much as you can, right? So if you're relying on a surgery or something you inject, I like to see if you can manage it without that kind of process first, So you can feel a lot better just by getting moving, I would prefer people kind of try without it first, but I'm also not anti it when it's necessary, because there are things like red light that they have shown that you can increase testosterone with.
Oh, really?
So doing an injection versus
standing under a light,
shining a.
Do you guys talk to
light on your balls?
Shining a light on your balls. I would do that. 100%. That doesn't even have to be red. I'll just shine lights.
Do you guys talk to your? Is it clients, patients? How do you prefer?
Yeah.
Well, mine would be patients.
Patients becoming clients.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Clients/patients. Do you talk to them about like getting more sleep, eating better, that kind of stuff too? Is that like part of that like whole I guess like holistic approach, I guess is what you want to call it?
Yeah, and since Greg has been in the building, we've been doing a lot more of the cohesiveness of talking and communicating a lot more as a unit, as like being on the same page. Like, what do we believe in? What are we thinking about? And it's just a real synergistic happening in our relationship. We already think a lot alike. And so I learned a lot from him. He learns a lot from me, and we translate that to our clients kind of evenly, right? Yeah. So I'm like, hey, did you talk to them about this? He's like, no, I thought you did. I was like, oh, no, they got that from you. Okay. And so it's really cool how we have this synergistic flow of information where it's like, I'm saying the same things he's saying the same things I'm saying, and we're learning to really right now outline and solidify what it's going to be and what it's going to sound like going forward for nutrition, for sleep, for recovery, so that we start to have not just the same voice, but the real same protocols. So before we joined up forces, our protocols were the same but different, in the sense that he was coming from controlled physical therapy and he was doing his thing and I was at Unfair Advantage doing mine. We're literally in the midst of like developing like, hey, what is our flow going to be? And we're starting to have those conversations like, what do we want to talk to about nutrition? What do we want to talk to about sleep? What do we want to say? Like, okay, we got the ice bath and infrared sauna. What are we going to say? Like, what are the 5 things that we need to be on the same page about? So we've been having those conversations with each other because of the clients sort of now starting to ask these questions and really inquire about that stuff, about what should I be doing with my sleep. But 100% Greg was doing that before, and I was definitely doing that same thing. So we're now doing that from a joint effort to really have that same voice.
Yeah, okay. I love that. And one of the things that I'm doing a little bit differently is when people come to the academy and they're talking about jiu-jitsu, maybe signing up or doing whatever, there's always this there's this apprehension, right? Like they don't feel like athletes. So I make sure I use the word athlete when I talk about them. I want them to get a different mindset coming in, right? You're not just a student. You are, right? But you're an athlete first, right? And I think when people make that switch, they start thinking like, oh, no one's ever called me that before. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then all we have to do is get them to believe it themselves, right? And but I truly believe, like, if you walk through the door and you have a pulse, you're an athlete.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And how do we make that? How do we optimize that athlete? Right. And mobility one, strength is another. You know. But I believe it starts with the mindset. What do you guys feel is your approach?
As far as in general, you're asking about the mindset.
Yeah, the
itself.
mindset. Yeah.
For the most part, I'm trying to just get people to understand that they need to become more connected to their body. Mm-hmm. You know, I think one of the biggest things that I do with people is education.
Yeah.
Right? So I get them exercising the whole time, but I'm trying to teach them what we're doing from a mind muscle connection standpoint, the reasons why we're doing it, why it applies to their life, regardless of whether it's sport or, you know, picking up your kid, whatever's important to you, and so that they're more likely to continue that journey regardless of whether it's on their own or with Unfair Advantage or whatever they're going to do. At least they have an understanding of what they're trying to accomplish and why they're doing things. I don't like to just sit there and be like, go do this exercise, it's going to make you feel better. I would rather get 2 exercises done than 10 exercises, and make sure that they understand from a longevity standpoint why they're attempting to do these movements. You know?
No, it's good. Yeah.
It's a big piece, not having them, you know, in any industry, in any job, any business that you get into, especially when you're talking about training somebody, right? Training somebody, giving them a new skill. If their mindset doesn't match that which they're about to receive, the chances of them really having that adherence to it is becoming less and less. So we definitely want to be able to speak to people where they're at and treat them as you're not just a client, you're not just a patient, you are an athlete, and every day you wake up in the game of life and you compete.
Yeah.
You're going to wake up and compete. You know, it was a challenge for you to get here today. It was a challenge for you to get out of the car. You're recovering from an injury. You're going through these things. We got to get you in a mindset that you're going to get better. And even if it's 1%, even if it's just one exercise, the goal today is to leave here different and better than you came in.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset. You know, I think it plays into a lot of the energies, right? So you can go to different schools and different academies and different training facilities, and you can walk in and the energy can be something of a mindset.
Yeah.
And so we really try to predicate ourselves on creating that energy. I think that's, again, one of the things like we've really been able to vibe on. It's like the energy is different when we're all in there together and Greg's on the floor and we have some other clients or athletes that are on the floor. We have some people upstairs doing some striking. It's the energy is really, really good. And it's all about the mindset because everybody in there is trying to get better.
Yeah.
And so you look across the room and you see somebody doing their exercises, they're doing their drills, Greg's going back and forth, I'm running around back. And it's like everybody in here is trying to do one thing, and that's improve upon getting better.
Yeah.
And that's the cool, great mindset concept that we kind of, you know, we may not speak to it a lot, but you feel it, right? And you know, and you can see it when somebody, when they translate what they're experiencing at the facility, they're like, I've never thought about that before.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you guys get people that come in, you're kind of like, this is kind of like last ditch effort thing, like they're not even convinced that it's going to help them, Like, how do you work with someone like that, where like you kind of have to like convince them, right, that how important either the physical therapy or, you know, the unfair advantage stuff is. Like, does that like go into part of that like process?
Oh, for sure. I think, you know, it's funny because I've always thought of myself as a strength conditioning coach. Like, I'm here to make you bigger, faster, stronger, and that sort of thing. But over the last 2-3 years, I've gotten more people that came to me. They found us because it was a last ditch effort. Like, listen, I've tried everything.
Wow.
I've done it all. And somebody told me to come try this unfair advantage place out. I don't know. And they come in, and right away we start to do things with their mindset. We start to try to help them understand that, okay, you tried everything, but the thing that you haven't tried, we're going to start doing here today. And we're going to start with your posture and your gait analysis. And they're like, well, nobody's ever done that before.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why not?
Yeah.
Let's just look at you, because that's what we're going to start to talk with, you know. So our assessment process, I think, kind of sets the tone for somebody coming in and having that last ditch effort where the immediate buy-in is, I've never seen myself in that light. Nobody's ever showed me that exercise before. Now, okay, I got it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
That's so cool. And let me ask you guys a question, because this comes up a lot. Overtraining versus under-recovering. What do you think is more common?
Both.
No, it can't be both. It can't be both. It can't be both. I think, honestly, I think when people say they're overtrained, I always ask them, like, how much time they've committed to recovering. And normally the answer is 0.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So, I'm just overtrained. And I was like, okay, so, and correct me, I mean, this is just like what I use, so I'm no expert in anything, basically. But whenever I tell people, like, if you're going to dedicate an hour of training, make sure it's followed by a half hour of recovering, right? So if you train, 15 hours a week, it's got to be 7.5 hours of recovering of some sort, right? Whether it's stretching, sleeping, the cold plunge. I hate it. It sucks. I feel like an ice pick is in my hip and balls are being twisted. It's awful. It's awful. But once you're in it and you find that the breathing exercises that you showed us, once you relax, like I've done 10 minutes in the cold plunge. I can't get my hands in though.
What?
I can't get my hands in.
How?
My hands have to be out.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Bro,
well,
they hurt
There is a
bad.
condition. There is a condition that people have. I don't know what it is, but Toe probably knows. I know you know. There's a condition that people have where they put their hands in and there's like this needles, like immediate pain.
So bad.
That they'll never be able to put their
That kind of
hands in.
sound like Corey, like last week at the episode he was talking about.
There is a condition.
Like he had like this nerve thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hold my hands and I pretend like I'm just like I have a Kong shell, and I just breathe into the Kong shell, and it kind of relaxes me. But I've done 10 minutes in the cold plunge, and the lady finally, because it was like a guided one where she's talking to you, and I wanted her to shut the for the first couple of minutes. I was like, you got to stop. You just don't talk yet. And then she was like, at the end of it, she's like, hey, we don't want to fight nature. Like, she's telling me to get the hell out. But if once the pain in my hip and everything, the pain went away, it wasn't like a moving one. So I think that there's a difference, right? And I could just sit there. I was good. 6 minutes came and went, and I was like, oh, I'll do another.
He actually
2.
passed out. He wasn't even
I got woke up. They're doing the thing on my chest. No, anyway, so no, I was just what's your kind of guideline between training and recovering? Is there one? Is there, like, if you dedicate so much, then you do X?
Not necessarily. I think that being able to have the mindset that you're going to couple that with that it's not just about training. There needs to definitely be some time spent in recovery. Yeah. Myofascial release, we talked about a little bit earlier, but being able to have something that's going to let your body get back to a homeostasis, back to a state of readiness to do it again. So that goes into sleep, that goes into hydration, that gets into all the things that are going to help your body, again, do another bout of that same training process. If you're not doing that, then you're into overtraining. Yeah. Right. And so the under recovery part of it, I think, is people who think they're doing recovery, they're not sleeping enough. They're not getting enough water. They're not getting enough of just the basic nutrients that your body needs to function. That's when you start to run into your under recovered athletes. Yeah.
Yeah, I still think that you shouldn't be doing like 3 training sessions a day though too. Yeah.
You should?
Should not.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn.
Regardless of how
Greg
much.
went big.
No, that is definitely overtraining.
Yeah.
Overtraining.
If you are doing recovery, you still shouldn't be doing. no gi twice a day and gi, and
Yeah.
I think you get the diminishing return with that, to be honest with you.
Big time.
Especially when you have competition coming up. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm sure you felt where you overtrained for a competition and you just kind of go to the competition burnt out.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I learned that when I was doing triathlon. If you're limping across the finish line, I guaranteed you were overtrained. You know, and somebody once told me that they'd rather be 20% undertrained than 2% overtrained. And once I got that through my thick skull, that I didn't have to ride as hard as I could for as long as I could, I did much better. So going into Master Worlds last year, life was chaos. Had a million things going on with business, with family, a lot of stuff going on. But I felt underprepared. I prepared way less than I ever have, and I felt way better between rounds. Way better. Like, there was one point 2 years ago, not last year, but the year before, where I'm in the bullpen after my first match, and I was like, if I have to go right now, I'm fucked. Like, I can't grip. I can't do anything. Like, my lungs are burning. I could taste copper. Not good, right? And then, luckily, I didn't go for another half hour. So I was like, okay, I'm good, right? But last year, I think I was like maybe 10 or 15 minutes between rounds, and I was good. I was good each round. I mean, I lost in my third, but it wasn't because I gassed. I mean, I fought hard the whole time. So there is something to it, right? You know, smart training, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I might have been training once, you know, maybe 3 days a week, you know, plus some lifting.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a lot.
I think at that point though too, you're getting to that, when you're getting into those black belt levels of competition, you're not like training for skill acquisition anyways. You're training for your cardio and your, if you're,
it's more sharpening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe you're picking up a little bit here and there, but it's not like you have to get in every day or you're going to lose information, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
It's the same thing I tell people with, like, the people that are 2 or 3 days from competition and they're like, I still have to go to class. I had to talk a kid in last week. I was like, is there any way you could just come in the day that your last day of training instead of going in and training? Because they're like, we're worried that he's gonna hurt during his competition. And I'm like, well, then come here instead of going to.
Don't go train.
Yeah,
don't go train. Yeah.
It's not gonna be the make it or break it session where he just all of a sudden learns like the move that he's gonna win with.
Yeah, and I think some people just get bad advice. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you got to train up until, you got to train hard up until 2 days before your tournament. It's like, are you out of your mind?
Right.
Like, be sore as hell.
Yeah, and then that's the day you get injured too. So.
Yeah.
It's like that old school mindset, right?
Yeah.
You just got to be tough.
Just tough it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good, man. Not good. Yeah, so what do you guys, I mean, this is the longest I've been in the room with Watus without him ripping his shirt off. But you guys maintain like a high level of fitness yourselves, right? And you're busy as hell. I mean, how do you guys find time to train yourselves?
It's pretty easy when it's your job. You just show people how to do stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Demonstrations all day long. You know, it's funny. Greg uses BFR. And I don't know if you're familiar with BFR. BFR is blood flow restriction.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
So blood flow
I hate
restriction.
It at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's something good, right? And you're like, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do it.
The ice tub and blood flow restriction, I just don't like those.
Yeah.
They are so impactful, and it doesn't take a whole lot of weight. Doesn't take a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
So that's how I've really been able to incorporate more training without getting the fatigue and getting the overtraining, because we're doing demonstrations all day long.
Yeah.
Right. I'm doing 1,000 rep. People, when do you work out? I don't. You just saw me demonstrate the entire workout. That was my workout.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that 6 more times a day. And so,
whoa, okay.
So a large part of it is I'm now learning to start to regress from training so hard and start training smarter.
Yeah.
And one of the things is BFR. BFR is probably one of the best things I think that happened to the fitness industry and the world of physical therapy as well, because you're getting a lot of injury prevention and you're getting a lot of strengthening it coincides with the joint mobility and the joint strengthening that kind of couples what I need for jiu-jitsu. Right. And so the strength that I'm looking for and the actual training that I want to do, BFR allows that to happen and actually makes it even better across the board.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like it is, but that blood flow restriction, when you're cutting off the blood flow, it is painful.
Dude, there are times when I was like, did Greg forget about me? Because my fucking legs are burning right now.
He puts you on like the grandma setting on like the bike, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is easy.
Like
and
this-
then like 2 minutes, you're like,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
starting to wipe some sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So now
Yeah,
just imagine doing that and then going and cold plunging.
Yeah. That's what you do.
You guys get in that thing every day? In the cold plunge?
5 days a week.
I'm not gonna
6
lie.
days a week.
I'm not gonna lie, I still haven't done it yet.
Like-
but-
Oh, you asshole.
Greg is running. Greg's been on the run. I'm so glad you brought that up, Alex.
Oh my god. I do like the first time I did it was with you, and you had, remember that Rubbermaid one? You had not Rubbermaid, but
yeah, the big trough, the big like horse trough one.
you had the trough, but you broke that out for Bertho. You had the pool, like the 2-person pool.
Yeah. Little
So
insects.
so I'm in it, and you got to lay in it. It's like you got to you're not just sitting up, you're laying almost flat. And then someone else got in it with me. And when they moved that water, I wanted to fucking kill them, dude. I was like, don't move the water. And then they kept moving. I was like, I love you, but if you move the water one more time, I'm going to stab you to
I
death.
know exactly what you're talking about. When that happens, you're like, why are you? What are you doing? I was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ice.
I mean, doesn't that take away like that hydrothermal of it?
it takes away your little blanket? Yeah, your
But
little-
like, you don't want the blanket.
you don't want the blanket.
I want the blanket.
Then don't even go in.
The first 3 minutes completely suck. That's where you're getting, I feel you're getting the most benefit from it.
So you were talking about testosterone earlier, and
Yeah.
what they're saying from the research is proving that doing an ice bath before your workout boosts your testosterone
What?
by like 300-400 times, like way up,
Wow.
way up.
Okay.
So
He's like, I'd rather inject it.
he's like, give me the shot. I want the
That
tape.
damn shot. Yeah.
So
really?
so I do it every day before our workout. So at 4 o'clock, I have a workout that we do with a corporate wellness account, and I go over there, and the ice tub is ready. when we get
Wow.
there. So everybody does an ice bath, 3 to 5 minutes, and then we do the workout right after that.
Do you
What?
have the one that circulates?
No, this one I do at the gym. At the facility, we have one that circulates, but that one is just a steel one, and it's outside at 110. It's kind of nice.
That is nice. Yeah. Well, when the first time I did it at your place, you had me go into the sauna first.
Yep.
And then we did an ice bath, and then I went back into the sauna, and I was like, I'll do another ice bath. You know, because I mean, I started to sweat a little bit.
feeling good.
And that was but. Man, you dip that first toe in, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. I really, you just got the chills.
A little bit at a time or jump right in?
Oh, right in.
Right
Yep.
in.
Get-
Do you
get
dunk?
right to it.
Do you dunk at the end?
100%.
Oh, bleh, nope.
At the end, at the beginning.
Really?
Oh yeah. If you do it at the beginning, it's actually easier.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
you go in and you dunk your head all the way on there, hold your nose, stay there for 10 seconds, come out nice and slow,
Yeah.
find your breath, your breathing, everything is the same temperature.
Okay.
So when you kind of ease yourself in, or half your body's in, your
Yeah.
arms are out,
Yeah.
like half your body's hot, and the other half it's cold.
Yeah.
It's like, get all the way in.
Yeah.
Get all the way in. I've had the better ice bath experience from doing a full dunk with my head. So normally I'll try to do that if I can. Just depends on how much time I have.
Yeah.
With the dreadlocks, I don't like having wet hair all
I
day.
hear ya. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I might not do it, but
hear ya.
the best times I've had doing an ice bath has been dunk before, dunk after. Amazing.
Huh.
Amazing.
I'll do it if you do it, Greg.
Oh,
There it
actually,
is.
I want. So you just walked into something bad because I want to do it. I just haven't had a chance yet. So.
What?
I want to do it. I want to go.
Come
I
on.
do. I
I
do
like
want to do
torturing
it.
myself. I don't
I
care.
do, but I want the
The non-moving water one?
no. I want to learn how to breathe first.
Oh, that
For-
helped a lot,
yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what he had us do, like we did, oh gosh, we're doing some stretching. We're doing the myofascial release for a while, and then Watus had us laying on our backs, and he was teaching us. I think what is it called, box breathing or
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
So we're doing box breathing, and I was like, we're just breathing, and then at the end he's like, you've just learned everything you need to know, everything you need to learn to get into that cold plunge, and I was like. You fucking what? I mean, we're going in what? So, yeah, but we got in, and once you got the breathing, I still do it today. Once you get the breathing right, like, you can hack it. Like, you can do it.
All day long. Yep.
Yeah, but you got to get that through that initial get me the hell out of here phase.
Actually, hearing you talk about that is actually what made me want to do it because I heard you talking about Watus teaching you how to breathe for it, and that's like. I think before I went and met you, I was listening to your podcast. I was like,
What's this guy about?
Yeah, man.
well, I had listened to it in the beginning because we talked about it
Yeah.
on my episode of
Yeah.
the podcast, but I was like, I'm gonna go in and review this. Just
Yeah. I, honestly, like you said, you have the Mevo cameras, and if you guys get lavalier mics, like you could put a lavalier mic on one of your athletes as you're training them, and depending on how long, you could do a 30-minute podcast with one of your athletes because everybody's an oversharer, right? Especially when you're doing something that intimate, like it's.
Oh yeah.
And I've told this to Amber. She's a tattoo artist, and I said, throw a lav mic on one of your clients, put a couple cameras up, you could have a podcast. Like,
easily.
Right? Because they tell a story about...
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
A tattoo podcast?
Yeah.
As you're getting tattooed?
Yeah. Or, when you're doing workouts or you're doing your helping people like, rehab stuff. I think, I don't know. I think it would turn into a really cool story as to why they want to do it, right?
Yeah.
There's always a why.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's big. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And people want to see that. People want to hear that.
Absolutely. I would.
Yeah.
I would. Definitely, man.
Make them sign paperwork.
No. You
Yeah,
just
consent
I would
paperwork.
have to. I would definitely have to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a little bit of there's
You got
a
some
little
red
bit.
tape. You got
Some red tape. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't do it with you guys because you're my friends, but like people I don't know, I start the podcast with, hey, I'm doing this to put on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the socials. If you're okay with that, I'm going to use your likeness and voice, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, cool. That's all I need. So, yeah.
Nice.
But it's probably a little different for you.
Well, yeah.
Dr. Greg. Yeah. Dr. Greg's a little different.
You know what's funny is when I did Gustavo's podcast is like 45 minutes into it, he goes, for all the YouTube watchers, and I was like, I had no idea. I had no idea. I was like, what have I been doing this whole time?
Did I pick my nose?
They're watching.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, tell me about the athletes like that you guys bring in. I mean, I'm sure it's every walk of life, right? But what I find is my athletes, when they're like family folks, they're raising a bunch of kids, maybe homeschool moms, stuff like that. They always feel like they're being selfish when they're taking care of themselves. How do you get people past that point when they feel that way? Because there is a commitment to your body, right? When you start exercising, when you start doing that kind of stuff, right? And it could be a 10-hour-a-week commitment, right? Mm-hmm. Basically. And most people feel pretty selfish when they do that. How would you get people past that?
I try and show them that they can take care of their family better when they're healthy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's just, that's that whole education aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like showing them if you can't pick up your kid and play with them because you are in pain all the time, then that's really affecting them as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I always congratulate people because I get a lot of folks that are like, man, I dedicated my life to my kids and now they're in college and I'm, 50 pounds overweight and blah, 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 blah. And instead of saying like, well, you screwed up, I just tell them, hey man, this is a huge step for you. Yeah. Like this is another part of your life. You're like another chapter of your life.
Chapter.
Let's see if we can get you in the best shape possible so you can be that awesome grandfather, great grandfather, stuff like that. Like how can you be there for that next generation so they can see the example you set, right? By getting your kid to college or, getting them that advantage, that unfair advantage in life, right? The unfair advantage in life. But I start with congratulating them.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. With, they're taking that big step for themselves.
Have you seen that video where this lady has her kid in a stroller and it's like rolling down a hill into traffic and she keeps falling over? And like a bystander has to save the kid.
Nah,
it's like that. You don't ever want to be that lady.
No, man. Yeah.
You're like just physically incapable of helping your family.
Yeah.
Sure. That's part of the big mindset piece too, is when they come in and they're having a hard time if it's a selfish reason. Like I feel like I'm selfish. Like I got to get back to my kids or I got to get back to my family.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the mind-body connection because they see themselves as somebody who can train or who needs to train, but their mindset's not there. Their mind is still like, no, there's a disconnect there. And I think the large part of what Greg does and what we try to do is help people truly have a mind-body connection.
Yeah.
Right. We say it a lot of times, like the mind-body connection, but when is your mind never with your body? When your mind is thinking about something else that your body's now paying the cost for.
It's chaos.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's like, when Tojo said, is getting out of bed, without any pain an option? That's like, we laugh about that, right? But that's really like, think about like people on their cell phones 2 seconds before they go to bed, and they have chaotic, they hate their jobs and they're not sleeping well and they wake up and they got to do it all over again. there's people that have taken control of their lives, right? That have this like system that they follow, and they're able to have that mind-body connection. And I think what you guys can do is help people achieve that, or like give them a roadmap to get there. Because when the life's in chaos, that seems like you're normal.
Yep.
And it's like you're living in this pressure, and you're almost afraid, like the fish that live in the deep sea, they're almost afraid to come up because if they lose that pressure, they might die, right? And I think that's really cool that you guys can, you can create a path that makes them feel like good about what they're doing. They don't feel selfish, and they get to take control of their lives, man. I think that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. That's my goal,
I
right?
feel attacked.
But that's my goal. But
You're
I mean,
a physical therapist. You get to do all the strength and conditioning stuff. You teach jiu-jitsu for a living. I do pharmacy audit.
well,
I have the most soul-sucking job in this room.
yeah, but I mean, you're one of the people that have taken control of your life, right? You have your patterns, you have you have your goals, you have things that you're working towards. Most people wake up in pain, and they just feel like, I just got to get up and get moving, and I have to do this, and I have to get this ready. Got to get the kids to school. Got to go to my job. So
You also wake up and teach jiu-jitsu in the morning.
Oh, yeah, that's part of it, I guess.
Yeah, you are a jiu-jitsu coach.
That counts?
Yeah, it counts.
You are passing on that to people.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like directly going, this is how you make your life better,
Yeah.
Right.
It's just happening just because of that process.
Yeah. And are you guys going to call it Unfair Advantage? Is the name going to stay the same, or is it going to be two separate entities under the same roof? What is that going to look like?
We don't know.
Oh, nice.
Right now,
We're going to unload some shit right now.
What's really cool is I'll get calls for people looking for control physical therapy, and Greg will get calls looking for Unfair Advantage. And so when people don't know the difference, that's when we know we're doing the right thing.
That's really good.
It doesn't really matter what the name is or what it's called. That we are a destination, and what people are looking for is being found where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we're constantly talking about making it more and more one thing. It's a process.
it's a process.
Yeah.
Are you looking to potentially in the future get into like kind of like having a physician on staff to do stuff like the testosterone replacement therapy?
The blood work stuff, and having somebody that we could, have in our same frame of thought, I think is definitely somebody to have on. I know Greg's met with some physicians before, and so like the blood work stuff and all the stuff that's outside of our scope, it'd be really cool to have a go-to person for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even things like PRP and
Yeah.
stuff like that, the stuff that there's no way either of us are ever going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Because I'm just like thinking like you're already kind of like making it one stop shop
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's like,
yeah, definitely.
what more could you kind of toss into that?
Yeah, I think the more it grows, the more we're gonna try and integrate as much as possible into
Yeah.
it, so.
And there was a trend going on with like especially with the like those I don't want to say the name out loud, but it's those people that they do your blood work and they want to get you on TRT. That's their job. They want to get you on the stuff.
Right.
And great. I mean, they're physicians or whatever, and they take your blood and they measure it. They're not lying, right? That you definitely, if you need it, you need it. But I think they were getting to the point where it was a lot of teledoc kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where, they email you a thing, you go get your blood work, and then they send it to the lab, and then it gets delivered to your house, and they tell you how much to take, and that's kind of it. But I think what you guys are doing and what's going to set you apart is like you're going in and taking the holistic approach, right? Someone walks into your office and, you can go to Greg and go to who does your massage therapy?
Like who?
Who physically does the massage therapy?
So there's three.
Watus.
There's three. Watus? Does he peel off his shirt? That dirty bastard. Oh my
Here
God.
we go. No, so we have three massage therapists, Stephanie, Lexi, and M.
Okay.
They all specialize in different modalities of the massage therapy. So one of them is going to be a lymphatic massage, one does therapeutic, and the other one does more of a targeted recovery massage therapy. So it's like you're getting the holistic approach, and depending on what you need is who you'd probably see as a massage therapist.
Okay. Huh.
Not Watus. You don't want to see Watus.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. And where are you guys located? Is it the same spot?
Same
that you were
spot.
in?
Yep.
In
Same spot.
Tempe, off of it's like Real Salado and Price, basically, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're 1 block south of the Tempe Marketplace. So
Yeah, nice, man. Yeah. And you expanded recently, not too long. 2 years ago? Last year?
last year.
4 or 5 months.
Yeah. So we just did the grand opening in March.
Okay.
that
Yeah.
expansion.
I think I was out of town for that.
So
Yeah.
we got the building, and then we've been building it out and getting it all ready. And so March.
It was
Yeah.
April
Right.
because it was a week before. It was March 20.
The last week of March.
Okay.
We did
because
the open house.
I actually was officially there April, but I was there like I had like a little like janky
Had some
setup.
stuff. Had a couple things in the room. Couple things.
So,
Yeah.
I think I was painting the day before.
How did the grand opening go?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It went way better than I thought it would.
That's good.
It's crazy when you open up a business, you have this vision of what it's going to look like. We never knew what it was going to look like until that day.
Yeah.
We had never had everything on and everything set up and music
Yeah.
on and all the things, and it was like, this looks good.
Yeah.
And so, it was a real big success. And I think at this point we're still trying to improve on. There's always something to do. There's always something to improve on. There's always something to upgrade and get things going. But it's been going pretty smooth since then.
That's cool. How do you onboard new clients? Do they fill out a form? Is it online? What do they do?
So if they're coming into Unfair Advantage, like straight in, typically we're going to start them off with an assessment.
Okay.
So it's all through online. They'll fill out their forms online as far as the waiver and their information. And then we go right into their posture analysis and the gait analysis and start to go from there. Once we have that done, we start to look at what is it they really need. Is it going to be some one-on-one training sessions? Can they get into a semi-private training sessions?
Yeah.
Do they need to go see Greg first and maybe come back? And now we start to decipher them on what is that path going to look like.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I go get my my PRP done with Restore Health AZ. Dr. Neil Morris, great dude, jiu-jitsu guy. He trains with Maracaba. And he, when he onboarded me, I thought it was a joke because it's like 100 questions. And expand on this and like everything, like sleeping, have you been through a divorce? Are you stressed? All this stuff, and then at the end, it's like, what is your commitment level to improving? And that's the one that I struggle with the most. By the way, I was filling out this fucking form for 3 days, but anyway, but that's the one that you really have to look at. Like, what's your commitment level, right? If it's 0, okay, maybe we can help you. But if it's like a 10 out of 10, then you'll get better, right? Or you'll improve somehow. And that's like, again, me, I'm always thinking like, how do I get people, more committed? And that's really like, that's a great question to ask, right?
Big time.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's really easy to walk in. Well, it's hard to walk in, but it's really easy to walk in and be motivated, right? But the dedication, right? The discipline is the key, right?
That's a big one.
Yeah. Because I was seeing Greg
committed
pretty
are they?
steady for a few weeks. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm better. I'm not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not.
That's the most common.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
But then, if you were to ask me, like, what, how committed am I to, staying on the mat, being a good coach, being a good business owner, having the energy, that it takes to deal with 300 personalities, I'd say it's a 10, but my actions would say otherwise.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's you guys are the things that we should do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And those are the hardest things to do. That drinking your water, going to see your physical therapist, getting, some training at Unfair Advantage, jumping in that cold plunge.
That's
Ice bath.
I think that's the kind of nice thing about Unfair Advantage too, is that again, it's we're trying to simplify that, so it's not I have to go do this, and then tomorrow I have to go over and see Unfair Advantage, and then I got to drive to Scottsdale to see Control Physical Therapy.
Yeah.
And then I have to go to the recovery place to do, it's like there are people that come in and see me, and then they're like, I'm working on them going, are you going to recovery after this? Yep. Okay, cool. So they just run over and
right next door.
Nice. Nice.
They already know the processes, so they just go in and get in the ice tub and sauna and come back and shaking.
Yeah.
Shivering.
Yeah. I'd be giving you the finger on my way out, shivering still. But I think when we did it was like July, and we just stood outside and thawed out a little bit. So it
Good time to do it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, man.
Hey, so do you know? So a lot of the part I think that holds a lot of people back from stuff like this is the money, right? Do you know? I know it's stuff like physical therapy qualifies for HSA and flexible spending. What about the stuff that you do? Is that qualify?
Yes, it does.
No kidding. Great. Yeah.
The recovery side.
Mm-hmm.
The strength training side, it depends on who who you're going through, what your insurance company is going to cover.
Yeah.
But the recovery side for red light therapy, infrared sauna, cold plunge, that's all covered under HSA, FSA, the flexible spending accounts.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think HSA is only for like your prescription drugs and like going to the doctor, but like there's a lot of other stuff that falls under that.
Even massage therapy.
Yeah.
Lexi just posted. She's now taking that same thing.
And I think a real common mistake, at least that I made, being an athlete, is getting non-athlete doctors in your life. Because they just want to give you pills, right? This hurts, take this. Yep. I was joking actually the other day. My old doctor, this is before they would call in the prescriptions. You didn't have to touch nothing. You have to take your card to CVS and get it filled. and this guy would talk to me, and he'd have his hand in his pocket on his prescription little thing, the little tablet. He would be talking to me like this, and he's like, "Oh, you need
ready to write."
Yeah, he didn't even look. Like he just clicked his pen and just.
Here you go.
I was convinced
Here's
he
your
would.
Script.
Yeah, I was convinced he would give me heroin if I really asked him. I was convinced.
What's your thoughts on fentanyl?
He was a great guy, but he had a room. 25 people in his waiting room. He had 10 seconds to see you. Hey, this hurts. Here's a pill. Get out of here. Right?
Yep.
He's a good dude. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. But I
think you just did.
No, I didn't call him out by name. But I think now it's like, every doctor that I see is a jiu-jitsu guy or an athlete of some sort, because like when they prescribe something, it'll be someone like you, or it'll be someone like you. It won't be a pill unless they have to. I'm not against, Western medicine. It's awesome. Right. But I think there's other methods, other modalities to explore. Yeah.
Big time. It's funny, you talk about the price of what somebody would pay to get what we have. And more often than not, most people are going to go see their physician on a yearly basis. And you find that most physicians are making the money as if they were like, dealing with you on a monthly basis or a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And we're only seeing our physicians once a year. So I want to invest more into somebody that I'm going to see on a regular basis, of a weekly basis, for sure I'm going to see twice a week or once a week, or on a real continual basis. I think that's a better spent dollar and a better spent investment, if you will. And it's going to be something that's not going to be a supplement or a pill. It's going to be something that's really going to be complementary to your lifestyle. Yeah. And not to go in and help and aid along that pathway. So when it comes to price, when it comes to those types of decisions, it's really helping people understand what they're investing in to be able to have that, longevity time, that when you do go to see your physician, it's an in and out. Hey, I'm good. Yeah. Heart rate's good. Blood pressure's good. Everything's good.
And I think one of the things is, again, with what's going on over at Unfair Advantage, is there's a lot of these barriers, like price barriers and time barriers was one that you guys brought up about how do you asked us how we stay in shape. I've actually been using some of the equipment that Watus has over there. He has a ARX machine, and this thing you can get like a ridiculous workout in like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah,
it's wild. Like you'll hate him for a couple days, it saves you time. It's not. I don't want to speak on price because I don't know that point, but like,
so it's $149 a month.
Okay,
and you're gonna get the best workout you've ever had in your entire life.
Nice,
and in your entire life, right? It's a computer generated workout machine. So it's not generating the workout per se, but it's actually reading your body. The computer's reading how much you're putting into it and returning that same amount back to you as you're working out, like real time. So
what does it look like?
It looks like a spaceship.
A spaceship.
It's pretty wild.
What is it called again?
ARX.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
I'll Google it.
Google that
so
shit.
Adaptive resistance exercise. And so when you talk about, and it's funny because I thought about the BFR, blood flow restriction.
Yep.
And the biggest thing right now, I think one of the larger researched items or modalities that people are seeing that you're getting the most bang for your buck from is progressive overload, right? So progressively increasing the weight over time.
Yeah.
We're about time under tension, but basically working out with bands.
Okay.
Right? So if you think about working out with a band, as I get progressively further away from my body, it gets harder.
Yep.
Which is where I'm the strongest at.
Yep.
So my arms are all the way out. That's where I'm the strongest. When my arms come in, I'm kind of a little bit weak in there. And somewhere in that strength curve, I'm losing. The ARX will have you pressing through every single part of the strength curve. Where you're always going to end up having your maximum effort at that point. Right, so if you're really weak down here, that's okay because you're now going to be pushing the weakest part of your body, but it's going to match you right there. So if it's 100 pounds down here, but you can do 300 up here, it's going to adjust that on the fly as you go.
Nice.
For every movement.
Nice.
This thing looks like a torture device.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We like it. Yeah, it's like a little spaceship. You're getting in this little pod thing.
Yeah.
And it was funny is you'll press against it, and it's like you're never going to win.
Yeah.
The computer is going to win. But you think and it shows you that in real time, you'll see your graph on you going and you're seeing it overlaid on the last time you did your workout. Yeah. So one of our trainers did it once a week, maybe twice a week. And he just got in there and it's literally like an 8-minute workout. Like he's just doing in and out.
Yeah.
He's repping the 90-pound dumbbells. And he's, I don't know, Eric's like 145, 150 pounds. Like he's not a big guy. Whoa. Not a big guy. He's dumbbell bench pressing with the 90s. I'm like, what are you? He's like, I just been doing the ARX. I don't know. I've been doing the ARX.
Wow.
I'm like, okay.
It's crazy.
That's so cool.
I do it every Friday, once a week.
It gives you data too. That's the biggest. That's actually one of the big things that we're getting into right now is trying to get data, so we can show people, look, this is where you're at now, and this is 2 months from now. Let's take a look again. So we have force plates there now that actually you can see whether you're jumping unevenly through. I think I showed you these.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about those.
Yeah.
Greg's really good with the gadgets, with the things. We need to have data. And data is not just something that we want to collect so that we can have it and so we can, track somebody, but we really want to have something that's objectively going to show our athletes exactly where they are. Yeah. Right. So that now they can see, okay, this is actually working. I need to do more of this. This is something that's going to really help me, the buy-in. When it's objective, it's not just, this' opinion or Greg's opinion.
Quantify their progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
That is so cool, dude.
It's big.
Yeah.
Big,
How much does one of these things cost?
A lot.
It doesn't look cheap.
In ARX?
Yeah.
It's $45,000.
Damn. You should
and Watus has 10 of them. Watus has 10 of them.
They are legit probably one of the most expensive things out there, and this is the reason why is because it's really good. Yeah. And you don't see them a lot of places because of that price point.
Yeah.
And so,
wow. That's cool, man.
So one of the few places you can go use one of these guys.
So you guys talked about, so far we've talked about sauna. Now, do you guys use infrared sauna?
Infrared. Yep.
Okay. So infrared sauna, and then the ice bath, cold plunge, whatever you want to call it, and then red light. What's your guys' opinion on the hyperbaric chamber therapy?
What you got?
I don't know. I can't even speak on it.
Oh, really?
Okay. I haven't looked at a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
So since you bring that up, we actually have this thing. We have a device, a filtration device on our hot tub that delivers hyperdissolved oxygen, which is almost equivalent to sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber. So what you're getting in a hyperbaric chamber is you're getting an over influx of oxygen to all the layers of your tissue that are exposed to that air. So you're in a tank, right? Or you're in some type of a tube, and that tube is being 98, 99% oxygen. So your body's absorbing it.
Yeah.
And so in the same way, there has been this new therapy that's come out with hyperdissolved oxygen. So this hyperdissolved meaning the size of the bubble is made small enough to permeate your skin. So everywhere you have a pore, oxygen bubbles are going in.
Wow.
And so the hyperdissolved oxygen, they compare it to being in a hyperbaric chamber where you're getting your body oxygenated. The difference would be this is a warm tub of water, and so your body's overly absorbing it because as your skin comes in contact with water, now it starts to, you have diffusion that's happening. Your body's exchanging the gases immediately. So 40 minutes in hyperdissolved oxygen is kind of compared to sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber.
And what's the temperature on that?
98 degrees.
Oh, okay. That's
so
not
it's the same
bad.
temperature as your body.
Yeah. I can't do over 104.
Woo, no.
For very long.
Yeah,
104 is my max, dude.
Just,
I can't do it.
I love their hot tub right now. It's 110.
Yeah. So it's a hot tub, but the idea behind it is that your body's going to be able to get into it and have that seem like a float tank. You know,
Yeah.
you get in the float tanks and
Yep.
you have that sensory deprivation where there is no differentiating between you and the water.
Yeah.
You're kind of just one thing. So it's usually about 98, 99 degrees so that the body can absorb as much as you can as far as the oxygen.
And how is that produced?
Through an ozonator, hyperdissolved oxygenator. So there's an oxygen concentrator machine.
Yeah.
That's pumping pure oxygen into an ozonator machine that's now going into a hyperdissolved oxygen pump.
Sounds like it should explode, right?
Oh, when you hear it, it's like, is that thing safe? But
Wow,
so we
yeah.
have that hooked up on it. And it just cranks out these nano-sized bubbles that we're trying to really give somebody the same experience that they would have in a hyperbaric chamber. So hyperbaric chambers are, I think, I don't know. Have you ever did anything with that with scuba diving? Where they put so you have that, you know, you're trying to get somebody out of the bends or out of the change the pressure that's on the body. I think the interesting thing about it is when you come out of one, how your body has to normalize. So the body being as adaptive as it is, it wants to try to adapt to whatever environment it's in. So if I go into this hyperbaric chamber and I'm adapting to that, when I come back out, I'm almost, you know, creating another cycle of adaptation to now get back to normalcy. So I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research on it to see exactly what people get afterwards. I know what it's doing when they're in there. They're getting that, you know, really good oxygenated system. So oxygen and what it does for the body and inflammation and having pain is phenomenal. Yeah. So the more you can get, the better.
Wow.
I am 99% sure that when he described the machine, he made half the word.
Hey, I'm gonna work
tell him.
I'm gonna work bipedal into a conversation after this. He said that. I'm like, oh, that's a good word. That's a good word. I can't wait. Oh my gosh.
He's like, I've never looked at a man like that.
Well, see, it's bipedal. You got one leg going forward. Whoa, he's smart. Wow. I am not. Regurgitating. Oh my God. Yeah. But so tell me a little bit about like I'm very curious about all of this because like at 51, I'm training less than I ever have. Right. I trained hard when I train, but I'm training less because I feel like I'm not recovering from hard, especially lifting. At the soreness level is just at an 11 right now when I lift. And maybe, and I just attribute it to, I'm just getting a little bit older and I'm trying to lift like I did when I was in my 30s or 20s. So can I still do that kind of output if I'm recovering properly, or am I just done and I have to adjust? Because I really love pushing myself. And I feel it's almost like a depression that comes over me when I can't because I'm so freaking sore.
Are you talking about like heavy weight? Is that what you're?
So the way I break out my week is, I do 3 days of jiu-jitsu and then 3 days of weightlifting and 1 day off. I don't always get the day off, but I try to get 1 day off. And I feel like, and the days kind of vary just because that's just how my life is. But if I do like a Monday jiu-jitsu, Tuesday weightlifting, by Wednesday, I'm like, I probably shouldn't train today, but I'm taking Thursday off. So I I hit that Wednesday and I underperform by a mile because I'm so freaking sore. And I feel like on Thursday, I'm not in an ice bath. I'm not in a, recovery room. I'm not getting massaged or anything like that. I'm just resting. And it's more active recovery. I'll go swing some golf clubs or something like that, but it's not, sleeping 12 hours or anything like that.
Do you feel like you get something from the feedback of the weight, or is it just more you're looking for the result that lifting the weight gives you?
I think it's more of a feedback thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people are like that. They're just like, I just like the feeling of the weight and all that stuff. But
I just love like what it does for me mentally when I really push myself. Like I hate it at the time.
Yeah.
But when that clock hits the hour and the workout's over, I feel I feel strong. Like I feel great.
See, and that's, even though you take that portion of it away with something like blood flow restriction, you're still getting the adaptation. You're still getting the challenge of the exercise, but you're not putting up the weight, right? So the positive of that is, so a lot of times when you're lifting weight, the reason why you're getting results is because you're creating that tensile force on the muscles. So then that adapts change.
Yeah.
with blood flow restriction, what you're doing is you're creating a metabolic environment so that the change occurs.
Oh,
So
wow.
instead of creating all of that soreness because you're stretching the tissues and it's essentially damaging it so that it changes.
Yeah.
You're actually just creating this environment where all the healing factors of your body kind of just create the strength.
Got it.
So it's very well supported by the science, but if you want the results without actually having the soreness, something like blood flow restriction would really be a good replacement for actually lifting.
Okay.
weights. You still lift weights. It's just that you're not doing, let's say you're doing a 220-pound squat. You're probably going to be doing like a bar at first.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But you still, at least you still have that feedback of the bar. You know, it's just that you're not, oh, look at all these plates that I'm putting on here. You know?
Yeah.
So,
There's not much. I don't. It's almost laughable.
Well, how do you adapt for the BFR for like chest exercises or core exercises?
you actually just having them on the arms or legs, actually, they've shown improvement, cardiovascular even.
Really?
So if you're doing a cardiovascular exercise, you actually get a cardiovascular adaptation.
So you really just need arms, legs,
Arms and legs. Yeah.
neck.
Don't put it on your neck.
Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've shown results for proximal to the cuffs as well. So
Interesting.
So before people go out and buy these blood flow restriction cuffs, do not go buy blood flow restriction cuffs, right? You got to use it. They have to be like, I mean, I don't know that people should just jump into this without it being like a guided kind of thing, right?
I would suggest it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're just going to do your normal squat, lunge kind of movements, then that's fine. But the thing I like about it, especially for like jiu-jitsu athletes, is I have people like moving around on the ground, like in ways that a jiu-jitsu athlete would, right? Instead of okay, go do a squat. You know, that in all reality, I don't want people to come to me just to do a squat. If they're like, these movements are getting kind of weird, and like, and then I would be like, okay, well, you know, you can do squats and lunges at home. You know?
Well, I was cussing you out once. I didn't, not out loud, but you had me laying on my back, and you had the Swiss ball under my feet with the BFR cuffs on my legs, and you had me like bending my knees to roll the ball towards my butt and then extend.
Double threat.
I was in so much pain, and my sock was coming off. I was so pissed at you. I was so mad, dude. I was like, and then you're like, okay, let's do another set of 10.
What?
Yeah, and then he didn't like. It's not like he deflated them and be like, okay, take a break. No. My rest was them still inflated, and my legs are going, get these fucking things off me. But it was like what, 5 minutes?
Yeah,
maybe.
Normally, I'm trying to get people for each exercise around 5 to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm not big on you need to do 3 sets of 10. I'm looking for the response. I'm looking for it. It's kind of weird because we are, the whole exercise and wellness environment is oh, this is how you change maximum strength. This is how you change maximum endurance. This is how you do this. Well, I'm not trying to make people have maximum anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make you stronger. I'm trying to make you move better. I'm trying to make you have more endurance. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be the maximum. I'm not trying to, I'm not going to make you a curling champion.
Right.
So,
right.
So
yeah,
just kind of trying to give an overall improvement to things, So.
Nice, man.
So you have to manage that expectation with a lot of people.
A lot of times, yeah. A lot of times. And I don't think they understand that, because most of the time when you hear you have to do 3 sets of 12 to get your strength, they don't realize that comes from something, that a study that said that's how you gain maximal strength, right?
Right.
It's not it's not saying you don't get stronger. It's just saying you're not getting maximal strength.
Right.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, if somebody came to me and said, I'm entering a curling championship and I have bicep pain, then yeah, maybe I'll do strength style of curls.
Then they
you know what I
rupture
mean?
their bicep tendon.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
crazy.
one of my biggest fears in life.
Yeah. The
happens.
pec,
It
right? The
happens.
pec too.
Yeah.
Rupturing a pec. would
Achilles
suck, too.
tendon, bicep, and then pec. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you feel a little pain in there, and I'm like doing bench or whatever, I'm like, today's the day.
Yeah. Well, they say
Today's
that
the day.
The tricep one is supposed to be really bad. Like if you
Ooh.
rupture a tricep, it's supposed to be
Yes.
really, really bad. So
That sounds terrible.
yeah. I've had
good
a
times.
few friends rupture a bicep and not get it fixed.
Yeah. I had
Depends
a friend
upon
who
where.
literally had this hole in his
Yeah.
bicep, and he was still really strong.
Yeah.
Popeye deformity. Yeah. It's, so it depends upon if you're if it's distal, so if it's at the elbow attachment or if it's at the shoulder attachment, because you have two biceps attachment at your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's called bicep. But if one of them tears, then you still have bicep musculature, so it's that's attached. So they typically won't repair that because they actually have to go in and dig it out, and so they can cause more damage by reattaching it. Then
Yeah.
So.
He just didn't want to go to the doctor.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, let everybody know where they can find you. Physical location wise, social media wise. I want to go 2 hours, but I've got a family thing that I got to get to. I apologize, boys. But yeah. Let everybody know.
So I'm on Instagram. It's control_physical_therapy. The location is 2140 East 5th Street, and that's in Tempe. Yep.
And I'm on Instagram at unfair.advantage.
Nice. All right, boys. Thank you guys so much for doing this.
Thank you.
All right, guys. If you love the podcast or if you hate the podcast, please give us a like and subscribe. Please comment. I respond to every comment, even the ones that are being assholes.
Yep.
But yeah, we're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, the BJJ Foxcast. Greg, Watus, thank you guys so much for coming on. This episode of the BJJ Foxcast is brought to you by BioPro. BioPro is an all-natural alternative to prescription human growth hormone, which aids in recovery, anti-aging, metabolism, libido, immunity, skin health, cognition, sleep, and stress. Just 1 vial per day provides a substantial boost to all of these growth factors. Okay, so that's what they want me to say. Here's what I know as an aging grappler. I've been using BioPro Plus and the nighttime variant, BioPro Plus Cortisleep, for several months, and it feels like I've grown a third lung. My gas tank is noticeably bigger, my recovery is faster, and I'm back on the mats much quicker, not just between training sessions, but between rounds. Now you can get $30 off your first order of BioPro when you use the code FOXCAST at www.bioproteintech.com. That's code FOXCAST for $30 off your first order at www.bioproteintech.com. Thank you, BioPro.